finally get a chance to play Phoenix Wright. I know I haven't been doing it in the past week or so. Also, shout out to Dreamy Dullahan. Thank you so much for following. I really appreciate it. More followers. So let me go ahead and get this going. Ooh. I know where we're at, so you don't have to worry about it. Last time, we found out that, oh my god, it's Ash! Hi, Ash! You ready for some Ace Attorney? Oh yeah, I also kind of want to mention that I set up a MooBot, so it'll automatically post messages and shit like that, so just a FYI. Yeah! Let's get this bread. So the last time, in case you need a refresher, we started the case of Rise Above the Ashes, where Lana Skye is determined to say that she's determined to confess to a crime she may or may not have committed. But we just got through with our first witness, Angel Starr, who has a bone to pick with the cops, and well, mostly just prosecutors, which is a fair thing, but you know. So anyways, I believe that I know exactly where we are now. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and let's do day 2. My goal is to at least try to get the rest of this case done today, and then get started on the new game tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and continue. Yes, see, we're in the investigation phase. Cool. Cool. And if you're new here, I'm going to be doing a little bit of voice acting. A little bit. Hopefully my voice sounds a lot better. Anyways. Mr. Wright, so what's going on with the case anyway? I am a little confused. Huh? Well, let's see. What is going on? The victim, Detective Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. Okay, so they're gonna give us a recap anyway. He died in the prosecutor's parking lot and the police department's evidence room. What's this? And the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car. Well, that's where we're gonna find out. Or try to, at least. Alright, let's do it! Glad she's in good spirits, but I'm not sure she's going to be much help with this. Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright. Uh-huh. Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go! Science awaits us! Hold on, just changing something. There it goes. Emma is baby. You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares? Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in their evidence room. No biggie. Baby. The ever so sassy one. Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it. That oil drum, was it empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. My sister erasing evidence at the crime scene? Never! Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister. You miss your wife? Don't worry, the wife will come up soon. She will appear. That's not all. It's just, we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her. Big words for a high school student. Well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away. Ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright. Huh? What's that grin for? This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminol testing fluid. Luminol? Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there. But wouldn't the police have already done these tests? Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. That's actually really good advice. Although, yeah, especially like in cases like this, yeah, you need to trust your others, you know, trust what you can get. Just give it a try. Me? Why do I have to do it? I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet. We're testing bloodstains with this stuff, not drinking it. You're not allowed on Twitter, Emma. You're a baby, so no. Here, look. I'll lend you these glasses. Huh? You had an extra pair of those things? To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see? Press blah. Okay, let's find us some blood stains. Alright. Oh, so I can either click it or I can press the enter. Oh, wait a minute. We found something, you guys. I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So, is this a blood stain? It's so... Ugh. Emma, you're shaking. It's just... This is my first time seeing real blood. Scientific investigation in action. Okay, well, we definitely know that this is a blood stain. But doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course. What's odd about this, scientifically? No, you know what it is? It's the amount. Like, there's so little. Like, if Lana supposedly stabbed him here, wouldn't there be more blood? The perpetrator and Detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood? I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe. It is pretty strange. If they fought here, there'd have to be more blood than this. Hey, Mr. Wright. I'm gonna mark the floor plans when we find the bloodstain, okay? Good girl, Emma. Very good girl. See? I'm pretty handy to have around, right? Yeah, and this stuff's pretty handy, too. Hold on a second. So lately I've been dropping frames, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Sorry about that. I saved up my allowance to buy that. Received from one very proud-looking Emma Sky. We can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case. Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day. Yeah! It feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it? Guess I should give this a spray on anything. Guess I should give this a spray on anything suspicious. Ha! I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Starr! You only trust your own eyes. Not bad, you two. There she is. It's the wife. This day old deli box is on the house. Sorry, it's just that kind of lead doesn't really get my mouth watering. Oh boy. Oh, Angel Star. You certainly put me in a tight spot today. Man, imagine just fucking around in your own house and spraying it only to find bloodstains in your kitchen. Well, to be fair, that could be like where you like cut like chicken and fish and man, to be honest, I'm kind of mad right now because my fucking cheap ass slippers broke. Like they got torn from nothing. I'm about to make this thing bleed. I'm mad about it. But I'll probably go out later, whenever, to get a new pair. But yeah, just imagine like what Ash said, that there's like fucking blood everywhere. Oof. My apologies, Miss Star, but no, it's okay. It was my fault. Oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right there. But I was afraid that wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see. I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry. Sorry? You lied on the witness stand. That's unforgivable. Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events was different, even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Sky stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. I swear it on my honor as a detective. She stabbed Goodman. I know this photograph has something to tell us. Important to tell us, but what? So, you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Star? Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal when they face me, they coughed it up. Coughed it up? They confessed. They babbled like babies. You know, I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I could be an angel too. I wouldn't doubt it. Every day I dragged the dirt out of the mouths of suspect after suspect. And before long, they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches. And you were let go, or fired? I felt that I found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today. That's right, she was fired. It's all because of that case. The SL9 incident. SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean... Whoa, wait, what are you talking about, Beanie? If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered sometimes. So you went straight to the scene of the crime? I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this photo, yes? In other words, 5 minutes after the crime? Those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. The 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Star. You lying was the problem. Listen, little girl. I've had my testimony disregarded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time. That time? That time? Well, maybe she would know something about the note. What do you think about this? The SL9 incident. It's written on that knife. And on that note, Goodman was the head detective on that case, you know. Really? That knife was evidence from that case. The murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected. SL9 isn't over. Not yet. Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident? Are you gonna talk? Yes, you're gonna talk to us. That incident really opened my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable? To who? 2 years ago. It was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So, they didn't solve it? On the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed. Executed? Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred. What? But the criminal was executed, right? On the basis of evidence of the sort. Made up evidence. What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? Oh no, as if that never happened before in the history of crime. The best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved in the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job, and you were one of those. Myself and one other person you know well. Wait, could it be? Exactly. Detective Jake Marshall. Oops. I mean, Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall. Oh shit. As professional detectives, we investigated the case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined. And then it was over, and he was demoted. However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I. You haven't forgotten the SL9? There was another side to that case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us. Wait! Those lunches you sell! There is only one reason I come to sell lunches to this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends, boyfriends that can help me investigate. The Star's old boyfriends. How many does she have anyway? We stand up Harley Amber's queen. Just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence. There has to be a connection. So, Ricky? What? It seems like you're serious about investigating this case. Yes. Then you should take this. Salisbury steak lunch? I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. Okay, it tells us right there where we need to go, so... Miss Starr? Officer Marshall, is he your, are you his... Are you going out? Why do you want to know? I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister and made me jealous. And he was nice to me too, back then. This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective. But now he's so cold. He went to Texas, that's what happened. No, he went to Arizona. People there are fucking mean for like no fucking reason. Like people in Arizona can be so mean for like no fucking reason. It's really fucking annoying. Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that. I see. Thank you. Officer Jake Marshall. But what part of Texas did he go to? Did he go to Dallas, or did he go to, like, they would be kind of cute together, though. They would, yeah. It's even busy here today than it was yesterday. Everybody I know from Dallas fucking hates Dallas. That's valid, though. That's valid. Like, Dallas is a whole fucking mess, if I remember it right. Like, so, like, I think, yeah, people from Central Texas are a little bit nicer. Houston, I love people from Houston. San Antonio's kind of a mixed bag. But yeah, Dallas, yeah, fuck Dallas. El Paso's nice. Like, I know a lot of good people from there. But, fuck Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is a mess. It's a hot mess. That's basically where all the rich races live, if I remember it right. The detectives are running around so fast, they're blurring. I suppose it makes sense. A detective did get killed here, after all. So, the evidence room, the scene of the crime. According to the pamphlet we got at the front desk. Here it is! She's like a kid at an amusement park. Oh, a real crime scene! Let's go take a look! I mean, let's go inside, that's all we can do. Oh no, he brought fucking Jack Daniels here? And like a fucking cacti? Oh my god, he really is from goddamn Arizona. What's with the decor in this place? It's very eccentric. According to the pamphlet, this is the guard station for the evidence room. So, beyond that door is the evidence room. The scene of the crime? It sure seems that way. Oh. What's wrong? It's those cacti! They're so prickly, so imposing. It's hard to think straight. If you can't handle the cacti, stay out of the desert. You know, that actually reminds me. I remember, like, back in college, there would be, like, some guys, like, or not even, like, some guys. Apparently, there was a whole thing where people actually did this. I don't know if they're still doing it, and I hope to God they're not doing it anymore. But they, what was going on was that they would actually record themselves jumping into the cacti for funsies. I don't know what's... I blame the heat. What I want to know is... What I want to know is if this is a guard station, where is the guard? No, I'm serious. Like, yeah, it was a whole thing. Like, they would purposely jump into the cacti to see, I guess, how bad he could get pricked. But, like, apparently people die from it. And I'm just like, well, I mean, like, y'all playing with fate here. Like, y'all are just like, the fuck are y'all doing? Like, it's literally fuck around, find out. And, like, I'm just like, why would you do that? Like, why? Literally, why? So for Marshall to put his fucking literal cowboy hat on a fucking cacti is par for the course for Arizona behavior. That's why, my headcanon, he moved from Scottsdale to West LA, and then now here. And now that's why he is the way he is. That's my game theory. I have a feeling I know who he is already. Oh. Yipes! These sure are prickly. They must be the real deal. I would think just one big one would be sufficient. These cacti are a lot like my sister, actually. How so? Encased in a cold, rigid shell, with spines pointing in every direction, just like her. I'm not so sure I see the resemblance. It's more of an attitude thing than a physical similarity. Oh, Feeny, you have to be so literal. It looks like there's a video feed from the evidence room here. There's a light blinking below the monitor. It says, recording. I bet we can use this computer to check who went in and out of there. Probably. I guess we can't look at that. There's a security guard uniform hanging there. It looks more like a costume than a uniform, honestly. A leather jacket, leather pants, a leather... What was that called again? A punchy? A paunchy? A pinchy? I know, a poochie! No, it's a poncho, Emma. Don't be white here. Wait, maybe that wasn't it. It's a poncho. But I think I'll keep that information to myself for the time being. Why are you withholding with information? Well, this swinging door makes the place look like some kind of saloon. But look, it's nailed shut. You can't get in that way. Of course not. If you went in through here, the cactus will fall over. Ouch! I'd say that's more of a yarn myself. What the fuck, Jake? Look on the floor. A lasso. He stole the jet. Yeah, he stole it. No. Knowing Texas, he probably got it like on a clearance sale or something. Looks like it's set up to trap something. A trap here? Wait, I know. Maybe someone was trying to catch a wild bull in here, but the lasso missed. You sure have an active imagination. Why does Feeny do this every time? So, oh, that's not what I want. I want this. Guess there's not much we can do here. This place is charged with forensic energy, as always. Please! Huh? Wasn't that... One steak lunch, please! Oh, it's you. Detective Gumshoe! Now's no time for chit-chat, pal. I'm a busy man. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland. Oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale. Oh, I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking. Oh, Gumshoe. Now it's no time for despair. We caught our criminal. Now we just need evidence. The criminal? You mean... You heard about the stabbing in the police department evidence room, right, pal? On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there's a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. There's Zeus. It's the biggest scandal to hit the station in ages. Everything's topsy-turvy. But Detective Gumshoe, who was it? Listen, pal. All I know is I need me a steak lunch pronto. Standing here talking isn't gonna fill my belly. Oh, Gumshoe. Well, wait, don't leave. If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figure he's down there having a good cry. Later. Well, there goes Gumshoe. He ran off to the evidence room. Well, this investigation is off to a running start. So let's go ahead and go talk to him, I guess. Like, there it goes. Still, I do feel better about things. A little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they? Yeah, I guess they did. Best not to go too far down that road right now. Things will just get confusing. There he is. What was that? Sir, that's what I'm saying. Me? A perpetrator? I'd say I was the perpetrator against her. That's what I'd say. There he is. Hi. Greetings, sir. Wait, I think I know who you are. Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I got your report, sir. Officer Meekins, so you're a guard here at the detention center? No, sir, I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman, like a little lost lamb, sir. Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report? No, sir. How should I say this? Wait, he isn't, is he? You, Officer Meekins, you didn't, did you? Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir! What? Now, this is an unexpected turn of events. Alright. Sir, I'm a patrolman with General Affairs, sir! Sir! How? I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins. I had some business that day, sir, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir. So normally there's a guard at the evidence room? That's right, sir, because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir. Now, the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall. Marshall? Then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir. A suspicious person. Yow! What the heck is this guy doing? So, what happened then? After that, sir, everything went white. I saw red. I blacked out. And when I came to, I was here in the detention center. How long were you out? Days? Might I ask, what happened to your hand? Sir, there was no one to bandage me, sir. So I did what I could to wrap it up, sir. A bandage on his hand. Just like Miss Sky. Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office. First things first, tell us how you hurt your hand. I don't mean to pry, but you are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right? Sir, please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir. If you have to label me as a perpetrator or victim, sir, then label me victim. I would, but you happen to be in detention, and alive and well as that. Yes, well that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that. Did you know the victim, Detective Goodman? Well, sir, if I had to label him a stranger or a total stranger, then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side. So you didn't know him. Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of light Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of light or other creature comforts. What the fuck? I don't know any detectives. So, if he was a total stranger, then why did you stab him? Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None. Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir. At least someone around here is more confused than I am. Okay, so what's up with your hand? About your hand. Did that happen during the course of the crime? Well, you see, sir, don't you think you should just confess? But sir, but there's nothing I could do. Nothing you could do? Sir, to tell you the truth, sir, when it happened, When the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious. The next thing you knew, you were, huh? Then, when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir. All alone. Alone, because Detective Goodman had disappeared. What? Then when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hands, sir. Oh, the shock. Oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt? The victim's body disappeared? That's some story. That is some story. Huh. Well... Oops, that's not what I wanted. Do you think you could take a look at this? Hey! That's it, sir! That's it! That's it! That's what? My head was a blank until this very moment. But, sir, now I remember! I remember, sir! You mean you remember what happened? Correct! That card! That card was the cause of it all! This ID card? Exactly, sir! That's exactly it! Nothing could be more exact, sir! Nothing! I better pry into this one a little deeper. Can you tell me what it is you do remember? Well, sir, you might say I'm a lost little patrolman. A lost little lamb, if you will. I didn't know it's Mr. Detective Goodman who was in the evidence room. And that's why you thought he looked suspicious. Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card. Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far. That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do? That's the thing. Suddenly he pointed a knife at me. What? Sir, I assure you I was as flustered as you are right now. So I whooped and leapt at him. Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him? Do unto others before they unto you. My own father's words, sir. What happened then? Well, my eyes, sir. Everything went white. When I awoke, I was here. Right. So, Officer Meekins, why was it that they arrested you? What do you mean, Emma? Let's look at what we know. Let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman, and the victim whom he met at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died. That's it, sir. That's what I wanted to say. That is, I did say something along those lines. Huh? But you still ended up here? They told me that it had to be him, sir. On that day, at that time. Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said. But you don't remember the events clearly. No, but the videotape is quite clear. Huh? Videotape? From the security camera. The crime! My crime! The crime I swore to stamp out! It's there! It's me! It's on tape! And you waited until now to tell us this? I'm sorry, really sorry, sir. I'll hand over my badge. I don't deserve it. No thanks. I have my own. Well, guess we better go check out the crime scene. right? Look who's standing at the Chief of Detectives desk. It's Police Chief Gant. And you sure this is all? It's Zeus. Press Z in the chat for Zeus. You know what it means if there's anything missing. Sir, I'm sure it's most likely totally perfect. He checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage cans, bags, coat pockets, hats. Under his seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine. Yeah, he is. I mean, I'll be honest with you. He really is kind of creepy. So like, I see. Well, if anything does turn up, you'll call me right away. Deal? Yes, sir. We'll scour the place again, sir. The Chief of Detectives looks a little flustered. Ah ha ha! Righto, my boy. How you been? Swim much? Oh ho ho, Chief Gant, reporting for duty, sir. Why are you saluting him, Mr. Wright? Oof. Actually, I want to see something here. Oh, sorry you had to see that. What exactly did the Chief of Police want you to do? Well, see over there? That's Goodman's desk. He wanted me to check it for anything that might be a clue. They took away every last piece of garbage in the trash can. Fucking clown music. It's like an evil clown music. So, nothing belonging to Detective Goodman is still here? Of course not. Well, except for this. What? You kept something? Sure, why not? It's not important. He didn't even finish writing it. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete. A lost item? Did Detective Goodman lose something? Day on is February 21st. Better make a note of that just in case. I should really get back to investigating the police department crime scene. And we did it all in front of Gant. Is Edward gonna be okay? Oh, Worthy? Oh, you know, they're doing a little inquiry committee with him. Sounds like an inquisition. Yep, well, they've had no end of trouble with the boys since last year. You mean the incident on Gourd Lake? It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendant's seat, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in that case, right, Righto? Von Karma. A legend he was, undefeated in his 40-year career. But in court, you fixed it so he was caught for forging evidence. Wait, I didn't do anything wrong. He did forge evidence. In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of turmoil, you might say. Why, they do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy. What? It's downright odd, I tell you. The detective getting killed on their turf too, I mean. They're being the prosecutors, I assume? Scientifically speaking, it's impossible. Yes, but that's what the evidence is saying. Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says. What evidence is this? Now, Righto. I can't give away all our secrets just like that. And this in particular, well, it's a little sensitive. And I can't talk about it. I wasn't expecting much anyway. You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets. Can't stand them. But you know, it's a full-time job just keeping the Chief of Detectives traps shut. Ah, he was the one you were picking on earlier? Huh? You saw that? Whoops! I wonder what that was. I wonder what it was that he wanted the Chief of Detectives to do. Well, we already got our evidence, so let's see if we can kind of discreetly ask him. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Hmm? Well, I never thought the day would come when Rido asked me for help. I was wondering if we can investigate the evidence room. Now, Rido. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't need to investigate after all. Rido, please. Do I look like a selfish man?
Yes.
Huh? Heck, if anyone asks me, sir, can I borrow $50? I give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out. It just goes to show you never know until you ask. And for you, here, you can borrow this. Huh? Hey, this is the detective's ID card, isn't it? That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it. Yes, sir. It's an honor. You just run along now, and do your best now. Later, folks. Well, there he goes. It looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID. You seem happy? Yes, sir. Because, sir, we get to go into the evidence room now, sir. I think this place is a bad influence on the girl. Actually, I want a plushie like that. So this is the police mascot, isn't it? Is it the Blue Badger, the future star of the police force? The design's a little changed from the one outside. Ah, well, the dancing Blue Badger TM is still under development, you see. You have it trademarked? Absolutely. It's cutting edge stuff. Very now. I showed this doll here to my daughter. She burst into tears. Oh no. Don't show her the moving mock-up outside, then you'll give her nightmares. That must be one of the detectives. The mumbling about something to himself. I know. The killer used a cassette tape. What a crafty trick. That gunshot was a fake. This is good. No one will expect a cassette tape in this day and age. He's not writing a report. He's writing a novel. It's me. I infiltrated the cops. Yeah, that's how it be. That's how it be. Yeah, detective desk, computers. I was hoping for something. I think maybe it's not in the. I don't think it's in this one then. Okay. A poster of a female police officer. Wait, no, that's the latest Babes in Uniform calendar. My bad. Hey Ash, are you gonna order the latest Babes in Uniform? Okay, so. Where's the link? I don't know where the link is. I'll find it. We'll make one out just for you, Ash. We'll do it just for you. Alright. The evidence room is beyond that door. And we have the ID card from Chief Gant. Let's just walk in. It won't open. Aha! The card reader's turned off, see? What is that security guard thinking? Howdy, partners. Well, what's made my Bambina sky so gray? It's him, everyone! Officer Marshall! Why does it have to be him? What's with that? Why does it have to be him, look for? As you may have surmised, this here's my saloon. We're here to investigate the crime scene. Yeehaw! That card you got there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeehaw? Well, what are you standing there for? Get along, little doggies. The crime scenes are waiting. Looks like the card reader's on again. While we're here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. Sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then. Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. Well, maybe he'll talk to us if we give him the food. Maybe he's just hangry. Marshall, you're not yourself without your Snickers. That smell. Reminds me of Texas. So, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas? No, I just saw a special on television the other day. Is this for my baby? Yeah, Miss Star. What's this? What's wrong? A filet steak lunch? I see! I don't see. I wonder what it means. Alright, Bambina. You win. Ask anything. Man, if only I had something to eat to actually emulate this. Finally, it seems like he's willing to talk. Well, now we can talk to him. I hope he's chewing he's eating with his mouth closed at least. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of the security for the evidence room, right? You've got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. That poor little doggy. Poor guy. I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly. He told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this. But since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know. Officer Miku. I can't believe it. I can't believe Miku decided to become a cop. So, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. Note, he was riding down the highway on his horse named Zippy. Law is hers, yep. She is law. There's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. You mean the security camera system? I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak in and next to your steak, you know? Okay. Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now. Like a drinking hole in the prayer fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved on the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it anyway? We've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what actually happened. There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, the case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case. That's right. The evidence transfers. Edgeworth was talking about the transfers too. I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. Only 2 of them? There must be a dozen. Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest one to understand are these here security cameras. Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned. If nothing happens, tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of those tapes? I reckon they might be. You're the security guard and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Does the card reader by the door? The card reader leaves a record of every ID card that passes through. Nice! 420? So this is the ID card record. Hey! I've seen that somewhere before. Sorry, Bambi, but I can't show you more than that. Huh? I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. Mr. Wright! I saw a number on that record just now. I've seen that number before. Maybe there's some way I can prove that the record is tied to the stabbing. Sorry, but could you explain what this whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence for solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years. So we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? So what happens to the evidence after 2 years? It goes to sleep forever in the underground vault in the county sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for all cases. 2 years ago, 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated. And that happened to SL9 2 days ago. Well, we do have Goodman's ID, so maybe that will help. I keep doing it. I keep forgetting. See this? This is the victim's ID card. The one that was on the ground in the parking lot. The number on this is 584-2189. Officer Marshall, show us that ID card record again. Sure enough, it's there. Look at the 4th number. It's a perfect match. This was used at 5:14, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world. So, when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But wait, what did Officer Meekins say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What does he do? That's the thing! Suddenly he pointed a knife at me! If he had his ID card then, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. So we got it, guys. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. Maybe. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and go to the evidence room. It's quiet. The investigation must be over here. So this is the evidence room? It really is kind of like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Oh! Eek! Whoa! Oh, don't hit Gumshoe. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So is it true what I heard? Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give him $50. No problem. So go ahead. Investigate that route to your heart's desire. Knock yourself out. Yeah, it's true. So, Detective or Chief of Police Gant will loan anyone $50? Even me? Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for the day. Gee, thanks. First of all, I want you to have this. You'll want to have this. Okay. Ooh. So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day? That's right. It's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here in the police department. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation. Again. I'm adamant though. I'm gonna take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe? Ha ha ha, of course, I'm a detective after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open? I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee right now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today. I see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. That case? Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident, of course. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Maybe we can get him to tell us more about the case. Find out what the fuck this case actually is. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using their ID card? Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Why, I'm on my 3rd card since entering the force already. That sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint? Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. So the only locker we can open is our own. Yeah, right? I was really bad about it too. Like, I think like, high school, they, a lot of kids, we like tear it up, draw on it, lose it, and they'll get mad and make us, out of curiosity, did they make your school, make you buy a new one? Because I think that, because they definitely made us buy ours if we lost it. Funny, they look like normal lockers. These are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? The handles? On the other side of the handles is a sensor. And if the wrong person touches it, zap! You get a shock. If that's what happened, my hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people in the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. It was $10. What the fuck? I think my college made us pay like about 15 to 20. Yeah, I know. It's yeah. Easy way to make money, to be honest. Cause the thing about it is too, like with my college, they not only require you, I think some or at least the college I went to, they offer, they're like, hey, for extra like $5 or whatever, we could just get you a new picture. Sometimes I just do that, just so like whatever. But generally, they would just reprint it. Okay, let's see if Gumshoe knows anything about the I mean, he seems to know it, but Detective Goodman's note and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone. Because of the SL9 connection? That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. But why would evidence from that case turn up now? I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case. So, what is it? Out with it, Gumshoe. Now that was a bloody, violent case. Violent. So it was a murder? A serial killing. A serial killing? Maybe I don't want to get involved in this after all. But the killer made a mistake, and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him. And this was 2 years ago? That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight, and started the rumor mill. Rumors about forged evidence? It was supposed to be all cleaned up with the transfer the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is. Huh? What do you mean? Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident scene. So, that switchblade knife. The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself? That don't make sense, though. Like... I don't know. Well, we gotta start looking. Let's see... There's so much to look at. What is this? What's this? Blood! It's a little worn, but there's definitely a handprint there. It looks like someone tried to wipe it off. Mr. Wright! What if there are other blood stains left in the room? We should use her testing fluid to check it out. Okay. Well, let's check this out first. Someone left a glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal. Making me some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know. You mean SO9? It does have a tag on it. Okay, so we're adding that. Let's see. Maybe let's go ahead and start spraying it. I keep forgetting. I hate this. Allow me to say one thing, speaking as a detective. If I see a piece of evidence I know nothing about, I say nothing. Nothing! That's fine. You bet it's fine, pal. Yeah, let's go ahead and examine it. I knew it! This is someone's right handprint. What? What's the matter, detective? That locker, it's mine. It's yours? Please! You have to help me when they come to take me away. Promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue. I'll jot it down on the floor plans. I'm coming on, you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. He said it, not me. He said it this time. What? But you're a detective. Okay. Wait. There's a lot of blood there. That must have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. I'm not a professional. What's your opinion, detective? Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien? This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plan. Hey, if you didn't want my opinion, you shouldn't have asked. Oh, Gumshoe. He does his best. There's all kinds. I'm sure that there's like more. Oh, wait. There's another handprint. What the fuck? There had to be more blood. Oh, why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch the spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant. Hey, that's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. What this? It's called liminal testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that? Huh? I'd like to get some too. I'll just borrow $50 from the chief. Where do you get this info? I always buy it by mail order. Well, I better jot this down on the floor plans. Okay. Well, I think that's all we can really do. Oh, let's talk about it. Well, let's look at these shards anyway. Wow, someone must have broken something big to make all these pieces. Detective Gumshoe, perhaps. There you go, pal. Making me out there you go, pal. Making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case. The case? The SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on one of those pieces here? Another piece of the SL9 evidence. No, we're gonna take a closer look. I wonder what shape these pieces were in before whatever it was broke. You wanna try to put it back together? Ha! Good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Why, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up. That's why I always carry around a tube of glue. Well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place. Is it gonna do it for me? Oh. It's still used. These pieces don't add up to anything. Maybe some of the pieces are missing? Let's just try to put as many of the pieces in place as we can. Maybe I'll give it another shot. Whoa, wait, I fucked up. Shit. Let me try it again, actually. Okay, so I have to hit E. Oh. Let me just bring it to this window. I can't really see it that well. There it goes. This thing. Yeah, that one is. I know that one goes to the top. No, that's not. That one's not it. So... I hope you're enjoying watching me put this this thing back together. Hold on. Oh wait. There it goes. Oh, that was easy. And then it has to be not this one. No, I think it's that one. There it goes. There it goes, that one works out. And that one. I think that one. Yeah. See, I can put puzzles together. No, I think it's this one, yeah. And then finally, there it goes. We did it! Huh? Well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are missing. Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. The problem is finishing it. Were some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with. Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. I kinda understand how it got broken. Okay, so we got the unstable jar. Well, let's see. Wait, what's all this paint? What is this saw and paint doing here? Since the dawn of time, true art has always been a war against oppression. True art? I noticed that there's blue and yellow paint here. Perhaps we're witnessing the birthplace of the Blue Badger? Well, you might say this is my studio. Here? In the evidence room? Place is stuffed with evidence. Stuffed with dreams. I'm not so sure about the dreams. It won't open! Did you really think it would? Hey pal, our security is high-tech around here. Well, I feel like that's all we can really do. Well... Hey Gumshoe. What do you make of this? Could you take a look at this? This is the ID card record of the people who came in here on the day of the stabbing. Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder. Whoa! What is it? That second number! It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth. What? The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? What? Okay, so why would Edgeworth have come here? Why would Edgeworth have to come? Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? Hey, pal, look at the time. Was there something you needed to be going to? It's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I'm going to give him a report the other day. What the hell? Is that what I think? Oh my god. It's Tresbian. Oh, Ash, you haven't played the third game. You're going to be in it for a while, for a world of wow when that day comes. I hope you're here when that happens. It might help, you know. Report? You mean the note written on the back of the flyer? The one that says nothing but no problems? Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he could use a report like this. I believe in him. Who needs enemies when you got friends like Detective Gumshoe? Look, he's trying his best. I'm off, pal. Later. I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. Well, I want to check the court record real quick. Okay, so, yeah. We identified that as Edgeworth. We identified that as Bruce. So, who are these people? It looks like the same person went in here twice. But who is that lucky number 7? Much to think about. I guess let's move out. There's your wife, Ash. Guess my apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long. Is Edgeworth here? There, standing in the window, a teacup in his hand. Right. He has the hotel bring him tea service? Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Yes. He brought me the latest information, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently, a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info's on the other side, Edgeworth. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I think this whole thing has really taken a toll on him. Okay, Edgeworth. What do you got for us? So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You're lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard them say that so many times. Ever since that case 2 years ago. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney. However, something happened. They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. The police department? Yes. Any further investigation for this case will be directed by the Chief of Police Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you, why? All along, I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But still, wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Well, Edgeworth, are you sorted enough to talk about this? Because why were you in the evidence room there, sir? Oh, right. I better check this now. As I was saying, what's this? A record of ID card usage? Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. Chief of Police? He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? It would have to be if the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask what kind of case it was? I can't say. It really has something to do with the current case. Now I'm curious about this other case. I'd better make a note of it. Okay. Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. Oh, edgy. Stop being edgy. Well, actually, speaking of edginess. Oh, that's his knife. That's his knife. He knows what that's about. Maybe he knows about... You probably got a hold of some information already, right? It all has to do with the case you were on, the SL9 incident, and some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in. You are the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. He must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was Deputy Chief of Police at the time, Damon Gant. That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago, too, then. He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth? What I want to know is why a Deputy Chief of Police was on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We wanted guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I would do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief of prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? If you were still studying forensic science? Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid, Well then, you might have a use for this. Aluminum powder for taking fingerprints! It has been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know? I have no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, no need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks! How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? Poor Gumshoe, he always gets the short end of the stick. Well, let's get going! One last investigation! Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. You remember where? Of course you do. It's in the, evidence room, so we just gotta get there. Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, in this blood on the detective's evidence locker. Let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger. A finger? Each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print. I really can't tell the difference at a glance. Quit procrastinating and choose a finger. Oh god, is it really Larry? Is it Larry? Damn it, Larry! When something smells, it's always the butts. Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done. Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes. First, we sprinkle the aluminum powder around. Huh? How do you do that? Ah, it looks like that did the trick. The aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. Huh? How do I do that? With exciting, I know. Imagine you're blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. See? Wow, that looks like fun. It might take some getting used to though. It's fine. It won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. I guess I better give it a try. I'm sorry in the future that it's gonna be like I'm gonna be blowing into the mic. I wish there was a way that they... Oh, never mind, it did it for me. Aha! You did it! You found one! But this looks nothing like a fingerprint. Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't. What does it mean? I think it means we're out of luck. Out of luck? The person who left his handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here. Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints? Other prints? Looking at the locker door again closely. Oh! It seems that there are other fingerprints outside the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print. Fingerprints outside the blood. Right here. Honestly, this was a lot of fun on the DS because obviously you could just blow right into the DS. So I'm gonna cover the screen with it because you never know. You never know. Let's just make sure there's no other fingerprints around here. Yay! A print so clear it's dazzling. Dazzling? Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet? This is quite a process. Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Alright, look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth and point out the person you think left these prints. Huh? How am I supposed to know who it was? I could make it a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So, whose fingerprint would we most likely find on this evidence locker? Well, not yet. Not Angel. It's Larry, isn't it? No, it's not Emma. It's not Lana. Wait. Oh, is it Edgeworth? I mean, not Edgeworth. It's Gumshoe. Oh no! Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? He gave you this so what look. Dickolas Gumshoe. Dickolas Gumshoe! Oh no! I guess that's probably because I was thinking so what. Okay, so we came up with nothing this time. But there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. Okay. Dickolas Gumshoe. I hate it here, Ash. This is where we got a luminal fluid reaction, right? Right! There was a handprint here. Okay, wanna try using this? There goes her eye sparkling again. Let's check for prints. Okay, let's check for prints. That's the spirit. Oh, but I have to warn you about something first. What? The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Anyway, any prints in the area would have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Would you say that the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me. Anyway, you must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. Let's see. Maybe this one would be... Oh, I have to wait for the yellow. Alright, let's cover the screen in white. Oops. What did I do? No H scenes, Naboo. Also, welcome to the stream. The H stands for habeas corpus. Well, in that case, maybe. Right now, I'm just making it white. We're trying to look for prints right now. Does the crime scene sexily. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, time to blow. Hey, we found something. I gave it my best shot. That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it? But doesn't look like we'll get any. But it doesn't look like we'll get. It's time to blow. Well, it doesn't look like we'll get a clear result from this print. Okay, let's try a different finger then. Okay, so that one didn't work. Well, I'm dusting sexily right now, I guess. Let's see. Make sure it's all nice and covered. Because I know sometimes this game can be persnickety about that kind of stuff, so... Oh! We got a match. Or we got a print. The best way to dust sexily is to wear those French-made outfits. Oh, unfortunately, you know, I don't have it. Yeah, see, it's a bit persnickety on that, so, like, that's why I'm doing it again. Just making sure that we get the whole print, nothing but the print. Okay, so, wait. That could be. This is it? It's likely. So there's no match. Okay. not him. Could it be Jake's? Oh shit, this isn't looking good. Hey, these fingerprints, whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It wasn't you? You sure about that, Nebu? Although, we could say that it's, we could say it was Larry to spin the crime on him. It's Officer Marshall. You're an admin doing tasks? Are you sus, Nebu? Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? So, why? That's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime. Emma? This is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The luminol reaction, the blood, and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh! You can vent to admin from the evidence room. Sus. Much to think about. Who is it then? Much to talk about. So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped blood stain. Oh shit. But why would Officer Marshall? It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you call decisive evidence. I don't believe it. Oh man. Oh man. There, we gotta save. Let's see. Oh man, there's drama coming up. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested in each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I am used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind the simultaneous murder, they wouldn't see capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Sky. We found trace evidence of a certain person... Oh, hold on a second. Someone's trying to call. For some reason. No! Damn it. Hello? Never mind. I just... Oh, damn it. Yes. So, for some reason, my heater is acting kind of wonky. So I have a temporary heater for now. Hopefully it gets, fixed up. I don't think it's broken or anything. It's just a bit chilly, and I got a blinky, so no worries. We found. No, I'm good, Nebu. I got the I got the portable here. I'm good. Thank you though. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. Oh, that's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Sky? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Well, she's starting to warm up to us. Speaking of which. Maybe he was just eating ribs in the locker room. The fuck, don't judge him. Well, I mean, still, you know, like, you shouldn't be eating in the fucking... well, then again, Gumshoe does, he is actually, like, whatchamacallit, building badgers in there, so, I guess, you're right. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In doing so, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Well, yes, Beanie, because that just means he has, you know, confidence and shit, you know? Very well. Let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For the first witness the prosecution calls, the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Ooh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. God damn it, Meekins. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You got to believe me, sir. Actually, we'd like to hear from you. Sir, I'm what you call part of the younger generation, sir. Oh no, Meekins is a zoomer. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that in order. Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I'm part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you. Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need to hear is more info to work with. Damn it. Okay, explain. Mr. Meekins, you worked in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes. Now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir, the lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transfer process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around. Then I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Okay. You spotted a suspicious man and rushed into the room. So, explain. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is! I found it! This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 498-9596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh? But the number 498-9596. Yeah, it appears twice. It's shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see, so it was during that second time, Ren. Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Okay, so that's why that explains it. Okay. I was the only one doing it. I was suddenly attacked. Explain. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir! A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir! I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I fought for my life, then he did it. What did you do? What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. God, this game is so ridiculous. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer, quote-unquote, murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins? With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? What is that? A videotape? In this current year? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the videotape of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? Okay. I actually remember, I don't like this puzzle very much because there's a very specific frame you need to get to eventually. Of course, it conveniently covers his face. Did you see the glove that fell, though? There's meekins. There's Meek. There he go. There he go. So he tried to grab him, but then he got the upper hand, and the camera is fucking useless. But wait, how come he's not knocked out? Like, I mean, he's knocked out, but like, he's not there. The hell? Even Edra is like, what the fuck? Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggly piece of plywood? Sir, that's the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter, someone in the evidence room, and some sort of, activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. What does Ash think of him? I want to know your thoughts on Meekins, Ash. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there is no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do so. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker, equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination, but you need to verify it, though. You need to verify that it is his locker. Otherwise, I don't know where this cross-examination will lead. But everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. Okay. There's no question. Okay. Well, let's find out more details on this. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video: the man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir. Please do. After all, you're the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can't testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Is there a problem? Yes, there's a problem. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing that in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us that this alleged contradiction in the video. He would want me to point it out. Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video? This is the first time I've ever had to do that. I feel like that's pretty common, though. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Wait. This is what is this? Why is this? Maybe they. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint if it's a match. The light turns on and the lock is released. Oh my god! You'll see in the next game, Ash, or those of you out there, but look, it's so cute! I love it! The light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Because these lockers are supposedly, like, right? But this one has been on. So that means something fishy is going on here. When the victim reaches the hand to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Order, order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker was unlocked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh, well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouth shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't that locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensor? Something jammed the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker was unlocked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this. Okay. No, I better not pause if it, or I better not go like that if it's gonna do that. So Ash, again, what's your thoughts on Meekins? Is he a pure boy? Wait, the hell? What is that? Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. Oh, I didn't see that part. Fuck. We can't be sure that the item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, there just might have been something like that that fits the description. But sir, by insulator you mean? I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present their relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck inside the locker door? And you know your science. It's a rubber glove. I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove. Hold on a second. But we can't be sure that was the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. Ugh. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, I could have opened the locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir! It would appear so, sir! Order, order, order! So, are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Don't be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility, and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well. Begin your testimony. Therefore, there's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At that time of the crime, the detective had used his card. But at that point, he probably would have been stolen. An ID card record. Hold on, let's see what... Oh, he couldn't find it because that's the thing that he lost because he doesn't even know his number. ID record. I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now, let us move on to the cross-examination. Okay. Okay, but wait a minute. Wait, one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID. Lost item report? It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can mean only one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but the man who stole his ID card. Order, order, order! Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago, you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Yep, there he goes. He's doing that sassy wave. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot, at the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. But wait, Edgeworth, there's more. Don't forget, we did find a lot of blood at that time. So there's just no way. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used a murder weapon. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? Who am I supposed to get myself out of this? No, let's object. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objected to what you just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses would be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? Hello, Minister Mishkin. No, it is not my first playthrough. I played this game like years ago, like when it was released on the DS. So I'm just playing it just to play. But there are some people in the chat who may or may not know the story or the chapter, so just, if you want to talk about spoilers, let's talk about them when it comes. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Chuck Norris! Mr. Wright, do you mean, Your Honor, the defense would like to make a specific request of a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. I played the original trilogy, I played Apollo Justice, I played the first Miles Edgeworth game. I haven't finished playing the second one. I do actually want to play Apollo Justice and those games in the future. But everything up to the Edgeworth's second game, I finished the first game, but I never finished the second game. But I do want to play the rest of the series for other people. How about you? Have you played all the games in the series? I do want to play the fifth one. I do want to play like the newer ones too, eventually, but again, eventually. Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requires to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Fair enough. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testified. What is their name? Just say they. Just say they. It's... Thinks he's a cowboy. That just cracks me up. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. You're exactly where I am. You played the original trilogy, Apollo Justice, Investigations, and you're currently playing through the second one. Okay, that's cool. Well, if you want, you could just hang out here. I am planning to play Apollo Justice. I am planning to play the Edgeworth games, and hopefully the other games in the future, if they become available to me, to me, I guess. So, yeah, just prop up your feet. The only thing I ask of you is not to spoil things for people in the chat. That's all I ask. I mean, of course, you could be, like, silly and stuff like that, but yeah. Says he was responsible for guarding the room. We should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. My favorite game, honestly, I'm going to be easy and just say Trials and Tribulations. I don't want to get into why, but when I actually do get there, because this is the Steam version of the original trilogy, but once we get there, I'll elaborate more on that, but my favorite one is Trials and Tribulations. Yeah, it's easy, but it's just so good. Justice for All is good. It's definitely one of the weaker ones, but in terms of like character lore and all that, and I'll just say that. But it is good for what it is, you know? Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Hold on. I'm actually gonna be right back. I need to get some water. Well, hold on. I'll be right back. Have to get some water. But yeah, Phoenix Wright, I've been a fan of the series for like years. Definitely around like 2006. Starting about 2005, 2006. So definitely a big part of my life. Oh. I miss the pixel art, to be sure, but it is what it is. I got water, Ash. I got 2 bottles of water. See? That's water. I will definitely check out maybe 999, 999, Zero Escape. Virtue's Last Reward is also kind of, it's there. I mean, that series is fun if you like puzzles and you know, point and click. Another good series, I'm sure you probably heard it, is Danganronpa. It's me, but just don't look into the fandom. Don't even think about the fandom. Just do your own thing if you like it. The thing about Danganronpa is that there are mini games in Danganronpa. I'm trying to think. Press X to doubt. Don't doubt me, Ash. I'm trying to think. There's other ones too. If you don't want to click anything at all, and you just want to read kinetic novels, I would definitely recommend like the Higurashi series if you haven't read that. Umineko is good, but Umineko is extremely long. I will warn you right now. Let's see, what other games are like that? Because I know there's a lot more. Shoot, I'm trying to think. Let's see, there's another mystery game out there. I mean, not necessarily like Ace Attorney, but definitely like if you like mysteries, definitely check out Higurashi. Definitely check out Umineko. Just like I said, they're a bit long, on the longer side. So if you definitely have time, definitely check that out. Again, try 999 and Virtuous. Just the 999 series. AI. Oh, is that kind of like this, Ash? Oh, I'm trying to think because I know there's more. There's like a whole list out there. That's all I could think of for right now. I'm sure I'll probably think of more later. But definitely check out 999. Definitely check that out. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, add that to the list then. Yeah, because I never played that one. Okay, good. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I just want to make sure that you get good ones too, you know. Oh, Avery Attorney is very much like that. Last time I checked out, that one was in beta, so I don't know if that one is definitely in beta. Last I heard, I don't know if it's out of beta yet. They're ever gonna finish it. Supposedly, it's like only a little bit completed. It does slap, but I keep hearing how short it is, and that's really disappointing. So it's finished. Okay, because I remember like them saying before that it's not finished and all this and that. So, but it's good to know. Good to know. So definitely listen to Ash. Listen to Spectre Theater Ash, and she'll and play it. Definitely check it out. It's a shorty, but it's goody, so you can't go wrong. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured out anything out. I haven't figured anything out. Story of Phoebe's life. Really? Yeah. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Aw, Gumshoe. Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it all off, you called me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you bought what I asked? You mean this, right? My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I have them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you. The chief prosecutor was a witness in that case. This guy was a witness? Okay, so now we're going to learn about the Joe Dark killings. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just going to ignore me? Irma? But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in here? I don't know. Unless... Alright, let's actually check it out. See what's the what on what. So it's closed. The perpetrator was Joe Dark. The crime, serial murder. Sentence was death. Victims: Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, and Neil Marshall. Huh. Press F in the chat for the victims, y'all! Trial data. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses Lana Sky, Emma Sky. Executive Investigation Task Force. Executive investigators Damon Gant, Lana Sky. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators Jake Marshall, Angel Starr. Very interesting. No, it couldn't be. Lana! This SL9 incident, is that? That's the classification number. That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Oh, Gumshoe. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you might just be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I'd better take a good look at this file. To be continued. Psych! We're gonna keep going. reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, pardon? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you. Wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know! You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Jake Marshall committing crimes even on the stand. At least it's not Larry Butts who committed every single crime. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado soul is as boundless as the desert says. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. I can't believe the judge is xenophobic. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. I still believe the Larry equals mastermind theory. It's all coming together. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. He really said, time to hit that old dusty trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. This man is bold. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security systems in the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprints activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? That'd be very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. I just like, he's just like, here you go. Take care of it for us. My job was to keep a very Are you sure about that? Because we got your finger here. We got your fingerprints here, boy. Where is it? Did we get it? There it is. I was like, wait. Did I lose it? Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this? After all, you were in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. Once a month? How are you not fired? I only wish you were, officer. Damn, he really did go to Dallas. Yeah, he did. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, aluminum tests clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Oh, didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. How do you know that? How do you know that? The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Press X for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy is hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. But if he's like there once a month, then it wouldn't be appearing as often. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, those a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Oh God, is Jake Marshall like the fucking meme? Now he and Angel Star are the meme where Squidward goes to put the flowers on his on the grave that says "My hopes and dreams." I hate this. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint to lock all this time without ever knowing it. Okay. My question is, how does he know that? How did you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up all the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? No, but in that case, wouldn't the print be smudged though? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. What do you mean by that? You won't tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us the evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yeah, we can, and I'll show you why in a bit. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us his incriminating message once and for all. Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about now. Yeah. I'll just let it go because... And there you go. Oh yeah, this case also is the first one to use the luminol, the fingerprints, and basically the 3D characters here. So, lots of firsts here, lots of firsts. Okay, still not there yet. Okay, there's meekins. You got BTFO. And I think I can... Yep, right here. So, right here. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. These days are short. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Can't confirm. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth is gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that the only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it, but you're the only one who can. The murderer needs to have something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just plain dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call you bluff. You say I opened that locker? Now prove it! Oh, I'ma prove it, alright boy. Bada bing, bada boom. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I keep doing that. Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? You got that jerky. I only got one word for you, partner. No! I keep thinking the thing underneath his hat is his hair, but it's not. It's those rags that they wear underneath. Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself. Unless that is his hair. If this is a joke, it's the worst joke I ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. We can? Have a look at these floor pans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Well, remember, Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. Like, see? It looks like hair. But I think it's one of those rags that they wear underneath the cowboy hats. You know when you wear the cowboy hats, you get real sweaty and gross and shit? But a lot of those guys, they wear them underneath to kind of like block the sun out and to kind of keep the hat dry as possible. At least that's my game theory. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show him his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. Ugh. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. You got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're going to have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Because see, it doesn't have the texture of hair. It looks like it's more of a texture of of his clothes. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond the shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ack! This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. Ugh. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Alright, let's try to speed this up. Okay, I think it should be on here. Oh! There it is! Look at that! Remember, Meekins got his hand cut. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, and though I don't know to what end, yet, however, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. Alright, here's his confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. There wasn't any evidence murder. Okay. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantities of blood were found on the floor of that evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Okay. When you say it, you mean, do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what you did hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only the case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of the investigation. Why did he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filing out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, pardon? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck at the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Okay. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins to try to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on it being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. Well, I mean, he still did the right thing, you know. So it's like you're punishing a good thing. When did Edward get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked out Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go in the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened the locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This would have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Beatty said workers' rights. Had to turn on the light. It's getting dark over here already. And might as well take a sip of water. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Yes, I think I have an inkling. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you heard that name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. Okay, I'm wrong. That's definitely his hair then. I thought it was a towel. I thought it was one of those towels, but I guess... No, it's his hair. We were both wrong. Or I guess we were both right. I just was overthinking it. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant. The then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. They were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. Drop the hair care routine, King. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder of the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries of the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Ugh. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then. Time for the verdict to have arrived. This court finds the defendant Your Honor, wait! Emma, the defense has an objection. A scientific objection! Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please, don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we job. If we can find something wrong with him, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy! Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident to the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, what it will be? Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever need to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Oh, there is. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is you grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something that hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can be proved something is missing from the floor plans? The Blue Badger! What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger. Oh, that's right. He has like a huge print on his face. No, that's Gumshoe, right? Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Oh. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing there, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker. What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that means this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled once, but was spilled not once but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? Before they were there. Before the Badger was there. Obviously not after. To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Object Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Well then. Very well. Then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? What else? The first one. Who was the guy? Who was the person? If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh! The ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40. Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. It couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime would have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, there's more. That doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went with 7777777. All those sevens. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against the executive is accepted. An official charge. you're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her. The defendant was sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not that. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At that time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Everybody in that office going to jail. Yeah, they are. Can you look me, an investigator in the crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to. In order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. Shit. Lana, that's... See? That's what I'm talking about. No! Order! Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial will have to wait until the following day. To be continued. Hashtag prosecution office is over party. Totally. So we're actually going to end here for today. I forgot how long this trial lasts, so tomorrow we are definitely finishing it up, and I have an announcement for tomorrow. It's not bad per se, but just an announcement. So stay tuned for more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Thank you so much for joining me on the stream. I will get some rest. You don't have to worry about me. So take care of yourselves. Stay warm. It's cold outside. And hopefully my shit doesn't, like... Hopefully my heater situation gets fixed. Because I'm tired. So, bye!